Hey guys and gals, I'm The Terrain with Server.pro, and Minecraft just released the first pre-release for 1.16.2. There are some important visual changes, as well as tweaks to the gameplay, as well as a ton of bug fixes. So without further ado, let's dive into this pre-release. Moving to these concrete blocks, we can see that chains can now be placed in all orientations. This means that we can align chains along the x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis. I can see this being used a lot in Minecraft builds, such as this chain entrance on a dungeon. Mojang also fixed a bug in which projectiles would not be affected by bubble columns, meaning that arrows, snowballs, ender pearls, and any other projectile would simply sink in these columns. Soul Sand has also had an important bug fix. Last week, it was discovered that the Soul Speed enchantment does not work if a slab is placed on top of Soul Sand. However, this has been fixed. So now, you can run on top of Soul Sand all you want without worrying about piglins spawning. Moving on to the good old mobbies, there were some changes to villagers. For starters, zombie villagers would be ejected from minecarts when being converted back to villagers, but Mojang patched this. Villagers would also not find workstations, and instead try to focus on ones that don't even exist, for some reason. And speaking of workstations, previous snapshots allowed villagers to lose their jobs when switching dimensions, but this was fixed this week. So now, you shouldn't have to worry about your villager becoming unemployed while switching dimensions. Previously, raids would also continue when villagers are turned to witches, but this was fixed as well. Moving on to some nether mobs, piglins will now become aggressive towards players who open or destroy chest minecarts. There were also some bugs with piglins last week, such as the fact that some of them would sink into blocks while being converted into a zombified piglin, but this was fixed. Which means that my transcontinental zombie piglin railroad is saved. Whoopee! Last week, a player found a bug in which you can walk on top of striders, but this was fixed. And endermen have been changed in this pre-release, so now they cannot place blocks on bedrock. This change shouldn't affect many players in the overworld, however if you are building on top of the nether, this is going to be extremely helpful, as you don't need to clean up any pesky netherrack blocks. There is only one major technical change in this pre-release, and it has to do with the new world generation and dimensions. These folders now use the same folder structure as a data pack to work. So, if you're setting up a dimension, the way you will now set it up is by creating a namespace folder, followed by a type of dimension, and the resource.json file, which determine how the world looks. But we are only covering the snapshot today, not how to create your own custom dimensions. There were numerous changes to the UI this week, specifically accessibility options. For starters, distortion effects, like the nausea effect and the nether portal overlay, can now be reduced in-game. You can also change field of view effects, which occur when a player has the speed or slowness effect. Both of these reduction sliders can be found in the video settings or accessibility settings. Moving back to the distortion effects, if you set this value below 25, you'll almost have no nausea, but instead you'll start to see a green overlay near the corners of your screen to visualize the effect. This is great for players who are sensitive to the nausea effect, but also for map makers, as we are now offered an easy solution to get a nice green vignette on the screen. There were also some bug fixes pertaining to the UI, such as banners being rendered too light in the inventory. However, this has been fixed in the latest pre-release. And that is all for this pre-release video. Keep in mind that we did not go over every single bug fix, as it would have taken way too much time, but if you do want to read the entire log of bug fixes, click the link in the description to visit the snapshot article page. Keep in mind that if you do use this pre-release in your world, do not downgrade versions afterwards, as this will corrupt your world. To learn how to play on the new pre-release and create a server on the pre-release, click the eye in the top right corner. If you'd like to play on the latest pre-release with your friends, check out Server.pro by clicking the link in the description. Thank you for watching. I'm The Terrain. Peace out.